Hi everyone, David Aragona. I'm going to take a look at my TimeformUS Highlight Horse on Thursday's card at Belmont Park. It's in race 7, and we'll start off by looking at the TimeformUS preview screen to see who's in this field. Just 5 entrants, but I think there are 3 really intriguing contenders to discuss. The 3 favorites are likely to be Fuel the Burn, Chateau, and Happy Farm. Before we get to them, though, let's move on and take a look at the TimeformUS Pace Projector, because when you just take a glance through this field, you see a lot of horses that want to be forwardly placed, but since it's a pretty small field, the TimeformUS Pace Projector is still predicting a situation that favors the horses on or near the lead, and the likely leader is the number 4, Chateau. We'll get to him in a little bit, but I want to take a look at Jason Service's other horse, who's the likely favorite in this race, the number 5, Happy Farm. Looking at his PPs in the TimeformUS window here, you see that he's coming off some pretty competitive speed figures and some blowout victories, especially last time where he won that claiming $40,000 race by almost 8 lengths, earning a 1:14 TimeformUS speed figure. Now, he is moving up in class to this allowance race, this optional claiming race. He's actually in for the tag. But the speed figure he earned last time certainly makes him one of the major players in here. The question is, can he maintain that form as he steps up out of these cheaper races? I like his running style for the race because he's not a need-the-lead type, so he can let those faster horses to his inside go, probably stalk outside. Irad Ortiz, who rode him 2 and 3 back, is back on for this race, while Jose Lascano, who rode him last time, is actually moving over to Jason Service's other horse, Chateau. Make of that what you will. I think Happy Farm, some will consider him to be the most reliable option in this race. I think he's a contender. Just if he is the favorite at a very short price, I wanted to look elsewhere, though I do acknowledge he's one you have to use. The number 2, Fuel the Burn, also likely to take some money for another live barn. Danny Gargan sends this one out. Fuel the Burn is coming out of 2 races at this level. Unlike the other 2 horses I'm going to discuss who are moving up in class, Fuel the Burn has already proven that he belongs with horses like this. Last time out, I thought he was actually facing a marginally tougher group because Bill DeSuit, the winner, and I Love Lulu, the 3rd-place finisher, are really stakes-quality New York-bred horses. So that was more like a listed stakes race compared to this one. And Fuel the Burn ran fine to be second. That 1:14 TimeformUS speed figure matches the number we just looked at from Happy Farm. Unlike Happy Farm, though, Fuel the Burn has earned numbers like that before. He's a confirmed stalking type, so he's not likely to contest the lead. He should slot in behind those 2 Jason Service horses. He's likely to hold his form for Danny Gargan, who's having another strong meet at Belmont Park. I think he makes a lot of sense, but the horse that interests me most, and the one that might be the 3rd choice in this race, is the number 4, Chateau, and he's going to be my TimeformUS Highlight Horse. His last race, he earned the highest last out figure in this field, a 1:15 TimeformUS speed figure. You will notice that the final time number for that race is just a 1:01, but that gets bumped up 14 points to the TimeformUS speed figure of 1:15 because of that fast pace that he set. You see those red color-coded pace figures indicating a very fast pace, and let's take a look at that last race and the replay of it. You're going to see the number 4, Chateau, he was the number 4 this day as well, is opening up a big lead on the far turn. He was actually dueling with another horse early, and some other horses were chasing him down the backstretch, but he really widens approaching the top of the stretch and has a big lead coming to the 8th pole. He's going to get a little bit tired at the end of that race, and that's something he tends to do. He can be a horse that shuts down a little bit at the end of his races, but he's got a ton of speed, and he really just ran this field off their feet in the early going, and the horse that's coming at him at the end is a horse that was closing from off the pace, as it did sort of fall apart behind him. But Chateau does hold on in this race, and I want to look at how the other horses that were pace presences in that last race did coming back, because Chateau is now the 3rd horse who's contesting that lead to run back. And taking a look at the TimeformUS chart from his last race, the 2 horses that he was dueling with in the early going actually finished last and second to last, but you see that they earned speed figures of 90 and 89 in this race that we just watched, but they both came back and ran significantly faster in their subsequent starts. Fortune's Fool, who was 6th after chasing that pace that was set by Chateau, came back at his next start and earned a pretty impressive 1:18 TimeformUS speed figure, improving his number by 28 points, while the horse that was actually dueling right alongside Chateau in the early going, the number 2 in this race we just watched, ready for the Munnings, came back and improved his TimeformUS speed figure by 23 points, finishing 2nd in a race in his next start. So the horses that were pace presences in that race actually came back and ran much faster. So I think it's a pretty positive sign that Jason Service is now moving Chateau up in class, not running him for the tag in this race, and it says to me me that maybe he's expecting another strong performance out of this horse. If that pace projector proves to be correct and he can shake loose from his stablemate Happy Farm as well as fuel the bird in the early going, I think Chateau could be a dangerous gate-to-wire threat in this race. So he's my TimeformUS Highlight Horse, hoping he's around the third choice, and I think we'll get a decent price around 5-2 on him. So hopefully he can take them from gate to wire in Belmont's 7th race on Thursday.